Hello and welcome to this review of the Black Diamond B System Chromatic Button Accordion. Black Diamond are a company that's based in North East Essex on the island of West Mersey, and they have their instruments assembled in China to keep the costs down. The instruments have Italian reeds, Cagnoni reeds, that are sent directly from Italy to China. Black Diamond has visited the factory in China to make sure that the working conditions are good out there, and that people aren't working crazy hours in horrible conditions. And having satisfied themselves that everything's okay out there, they set up operations a few years ago, and they have sent me this accordion that I'm going to show you this morning on a week's no obligation trial. They haven't solicited this review. I purely offered it because I do lots of video blogs of instruments. So I'm going to show you around the instrument right now. So this is the instrument, straight out the box. The overall impression is one of high quality, no bits of poor finish. Let me give you some specs. It weighs about 14 pounds, or if you prefer it, 6.4 kilograms. It's about 13 by 13, okay, so 13 that way, 13 that way, that's 13 inches. It costs £749 plus £20 delivery if you aren't able to get to West Mersey in Essex to pick it up in person. It's got some good quality straps, and you need those with an instrument of this weight, and it comes in a hard case. The Bellows straps, just undo the top one, I've already undone the bottom one, have a nice parking space on top here. You can click it in. That's a nice touch, so that the Bellows straps aren't waving about in the breeze while you're trying to play. So let's deal with the treble side first, the right hand side. You've got 5 rows of buttons. You have got a stepped keyboard, so the 5 rows kind of step up for your convenience. As you get nearer the bellows, the steps go up. You've got 62 buttons, including one dummy. This one down here doesn't sound. It's purely there to kind of make the rows look even. This instrument is unisonoric. That means to say when you play a button, pushing the bellows and pulling the bellows, it's the same note. Okay? If you are a keyboard player, the handy thing is that your black and white notes on your keyboard are suitably coloured on this accordion. All the buttons coloured white are white notes on your piano. All the black buttons are black notes on your piano. So that's pretty handy, especially if you're like me and you play the piano or you play the keyboard. Another thing that's pretty helpful is that all the C and F notes have got kind of a crisscross hatching on them, so you can, they're kind of scratched into the button in the nicest possible way, so you can find those notes. So there's a C, there's the C, the octave above it, and I can feel that kind of hatching on the button. And here's an F note and the octave above, and I can feel that those two buttons also have that hatching, so that's a useful thing. So you've got 62 buttons, 61 make sound, but you've only got 37 different notes. And that is because these 2 outside rows have duplicate buttons on the 2 inside rows. Let me show you what I mean by that. If I play this black note here, you can see that button goes down at the same time. So both these buttons are linked to the same reeds, okay? So if I just hold my hand up, and you can see it goes down there as well. And it gives you alternative playing positions. The middle row, okay, here, is not duplicated anywhere at all. And the middle row contains the note C, okay? So all the C notes, in fact. So you only get one position for those C notes and any other notes that are on that row. So there are 2 reeds per note, and as I said earlier, they are Italian Cagnoni reeds, so pretty high quality, and they sound really nice. The buttons have a lovely quality feel to them. They've got felt bushes underneath them, and when you press them they feel really nice. You've got a fine mesh here behind the grill, so you can actually see the pallets moving up and down, and quite sadly I like to see that. It's quite a nice thing to be able to see. Let's talk about the switching. Okay, now you've got two black switches and a white switch. If you press the white switch, you've got both the reeds engaged. Now what that means is that you've got a reed which is tuned to concert pitch and a reed that is tuned slightly sharp to that, and that gives you that wet sound, as we like to call it in the accordion world. Because the two notes are slightly out of tune, it kind of fattens the sound up, and we really like that, don't we? You can hear it beating. Let's go for a higher one. You can hear that beating, and that's a really nice sound. That's my sort of chosen sound on this. If I press just the black button here, that engages just the reed that I think is in concert pitch, and in here it's a single reed. It's a very nice sound in its way, but I think probably I would be using the two reeds together. If I press the other black button, you get the reed that I think is slightly sharp, which might sound a little bit strange with the chords. I've yet to kind of really experiment with that. And you can, through the grill, see the switching, see the switches and the levers moving, which, as I say, I really like that. So you can hear the notes. I'm just going to run all the way up through the three main rows, and I'll play the notes reasonably slowly so that you can hear what it actually sounds like. So starting on the bottom G here, this is the lowest note on the accordion, and that is actually the G below middle C, and it goes up to the G, which is 3 octaves above that. So in that kind of 13-inch span, you've got all those notes. I worked out the other day that you'd have to have a 21-inch span on a keyboard, on a piano keyboard, to get that same range. So it's a pretty big range, isn't it, over a fairly short distance, which is obviously the attraction of this type of accordion. So let's have a listen to the notes as they rise up chromatically from that bottom G to the top. I'll pull the bellows out, I've got a bit of lung capacity, as it were. So that's a fair old range, isn't it? This is very new, obviously brand new instrument, and so obviously it's still to be played in, but to my ears that sounds really nice. So let's talk about the bellows now. Now on an instrument like this, obviously you've got a fair size set of bellows, and you can, as you pull, as long as you're playing some buttons, they will open. But if you want to open them up before you start playing, or close them once you finish playing them, you use this tiny button on the side, which is the air button. And if you push it in and pull the bellows, they will open. If you try and open and shut the bellows without using the air button or any of the buttons that make notes, you're going to struggle and you may well damage the reeds. So always use that air button. I've got this instrument on a 1-week trial. If I decide to buy it, I'll take the pins out and I'll show you inside of it. I'm a bit loath to do that, just in case I slip and scratch the casing. So we're going to move on to the bass side now. Okay, the bass side has got a very comfortable bass strap, which is adjusted by means of a rotella here, and there's plenty of adjustment for that. You've got the holes drilled in the plate there, so let the sound out, and there's a space in the middle where there are no holes where your hand should go. okay, go through to the buttons. So this instrument has got a Stradella bass system, much like you would have in a piano accordion, of course. And this one's got 60 buttons, and it's 12 rows of 5 buttons which are set out diagonally. Each row has a major third, a root note, a major chord, a minor chord and a 7th chord. Let me just show you that on the C. So this is the C row, okay, try and angle that around so you can see it. And you've got, first of all, the E note, which is a major third up from the root note. That's nearest the bellows. That's your contra bass note. Then you've got the C root note, and it being a C, it's got a little dimple in it so you can find it quickly. You've then got the major chord, C major chord, C minor chord, and the C 7th chord. As this has only got 5 buttons in a row, you haven't got the diminished chord. Having said that, if you play any 4 buttons on the row, you can make a diminished chord there, so you're not stuck for that. And for me, I don't think it's going to be much of a problem not having that diminished chord. You've got 12 rows, so pretty obviously you've got 1 row for each note that you've got in music, okay? But there's no wraparound, and what I mean by that is there's no extra rows on the end, so you might have to, in some of your tunes, dash up the other end for your bass note rather than find it at the end where you are, which can be a bit of a problem. But of course, obviously more rows means more weight and more expense. Again, I don't think that's going to be a problem for me. I think that's going to be absolutely fine. It's not like a 48 button Stradella system where you are actually missing some notes. You've actually got every note, every root note, every major, every minor, every 7th and every 3rd that you need. So you're pretty well covered with this. So this is what it sounds like. And to my ears that sounds absolutely fine, and all you'd need from the bass, I think. So let's wrap things up now on this review. Okay, the instrument costs £749. It's quite a lot of money, of course, but I think it really is good value for money considering what you're getting here. The weight of it, okay, is fairly heavy, but a lot lighter than some accordions you can buy. I borrowed my neighbour's 120 bass piano accordion a couple of years ago, and I think that was about £28, so it was twice the weight of this, and that really did feel like an absolute ton weight. So this is a little bit heavy for me because I'm used to melodeons, so I'm not really the best person to ask, but it's got some good straps. If you sit down, get yourself comfortable. I'm actually using a guitarist's footstool to prop my left leg up here, and I'm finding it perfectly comfortable. I've been sitting doing this video now for about an hour, and I don't feel tired or uncomfortable at all. The sound is very good to my ears, and I've heard quite a lot of instruments over the last couple of years, and I can't really think that I'd want anything better quality. The action is really nice, feels really comfortable, it's pretty fast. Okay, it's not as fast as my Roland FR18 electronic melodeon, but that's not a fair comparison because that is what it is, an electronic instrument, and it hasn't got a mechanical action. So I think, as I say, the action is absolutely fine for this. As to the company, Black Diamond Accordions, I can tell you that I've found them to be really good to deal with. Sent them several emails, asked them a few questions, and they've got straight back to me, and they've been friendly and courteous, and I can't honestly say that's the case for a lot of companies I've dealt with over the years. So that really is a tick in the box for me. I like to feel all warm and toasty when I'm dealing with a company and if I'm looking at an instrument. And I'm pretty sure that the offer that I've had here to borrow this for a week with no obligation, goes for anybody out there. So if you are interested in trying one of these instruments out, then do get in touch with them. They not only sell B system chromatic button accordions, they also sell C system, they sell DG melodeons, BC melodeons and piano accordions. So there's a fair range of instruments there. Anyway, I hope you found this review interesting and helpful, and if you do have any questions, obviously do get in touch with Black Diamond Accordions, or indeed with me.